Republican Congressman James Comer of Kentucky, chairman of the House Oversight Committee, is in focus now. What is your greatest concern as we track something that is the size of 3 buses now that China says was taken by wind that we can't substantiate?
Well, I have concern this is going to be another example of the Biden administration's weakness on the national scale. I mean, you look at what happened in Afghanistan. That hurt the reputation of America's military strength. That hurt the reputation of our commander-in-chief. And now we have China clearly playing games with the United States. This balloon never should have been allowed to cross over into past the Pacific coast under the continental United States. Never should have happened. My concern is that the federal government obviously doesn't know what's in that balloon. Is that bioweapons in that balloon? Did that balloon take off from Wuhan? We don't know anything about that balloon, but the fact that this balloon was slowly making its way to the United States for several days, and this administration never alerted anyone about the possibility of this balloon coming over the United States is very concerning. It's very concerning they didn't shoot it out of the air before it even reached the continental United States.
Oh, Chairman, let me stop you there. What do you mean never alerted anyone? You mean people on Capitol Hill were not being briefed, national security briefings about this giant object in the sky?
No one on the House Oversight Committee. Now, I don't know about the Intelligence Committee with the Senate or the House, but I can tell you the overwhelming majority of members of Congress that I've spoken to in the last 24 hours had no idea about this. So this administration, again, is the least transparent administration in the history of America. This is very concerning. Unless China's working with the Biden administration to help find some of those missing documents that are scattered all over the United States, then this is unacceptable and this should not be allowed. And again, another sign of weakness on the international stage by our commander-in-chief.
Look, it's a reason that the balloon was wafting well above commercial and military airlanes. Jennifer Griffin said it's flying at 60,000 feet, and they've been tracking it for several days. And for your committee that you chair, no notice of this. There's so many problems inherent in that. We'll continue to cover it. Let's move to this. Hunter Biden's lawyers are now saying their letter, the letter that they sent, does not confirm the laptop actually belongs to their client. But they did confirm it is Hunter's personal computer data that's been going around. Their new angle is that it's been weaponized somehow. The New York Post, with a scathing burn to that legal team for Hunter Biden, quote, friends in law places. A new op-ed says all these family ties just add to the already bad optics. How's it going to look if, at the demand of the president's son, the Justice Department unleashes the full force of the federal government on the people who exposed Hunter's problematic foreign dealings, including documents that raised questions about Joe Biden's knowledge of those affairs? I want to come straight to you and get your reaction to all of that.
Well, it's good that the legal team for Hunter Biden finally confirmed the authenticity of the hard drive. Now, look, in November, right after the election, when Republicans won the midterm elections, and Jim Jordan and I had a press conference with the Oversight Committee to announce our formal investigation of Biden family influence peddling, many came to Hunter's defense, both with the Democrat Party, Democrats in Congress, and a lot of the mainstream media, suggesting that this laptop and the contents weren't legitimate. They weren't authentic. They had been tampered with. And now we know, heading into our first hearing next week on the Biden corruption, that the contents of this laptop are authentic. They are indeed Hunter Biden's. That's very concerning for the President of the United States, because there are countless emails, text messages, pictures that are very damaging to President Joe Biden. They will prove that Joe Biden was not truthful with the American people when he said he had no idea about his family's involvement in these shady business dealings. We're now to the point, Harris, where we're concerned that some of these emails that we've targeted could potentially have some of this classified information that is turning up all over the East Coast on it. So this is very concerning.
Oh, wait a minute.
Investigation.
That I want to slow you down just for a second there. Are you saying that somehow the classified documents would have been mingled with things that would be on that laptop that now Hunter suddenly says is actually his?
That's what we're going to try to find out. There are 2 emails that are emails of interest for the House Oversight Committee. These are two emails that read like a government document. They don't read like any other email. They're not worded in the same manner. They're more scholastic. They're more sound like written by a bureaucrat. They have the appearance of being government documents. We want to know where these documents, where these emails were derived, where this information was derived. If in fact these emails were part of some of the documents that were mishandled by the President of the United States, this is very concerning. And again, from day one, we said the biggest reason we're investigating the Biden family is we're concerned that this administration is compromised because of the millions of dollars that they've taken from China. And here we are today, Harris, with this spy balloon flying over our, American soil over potential problems with our military.
Yeah, messing with us. Of course, we'll find out more detail. Hopefully, they'll be more transparent as something is hovering over the United States for several days. Great to have you in focus on all of this, Chairman Comer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.